think one of the biggest challenges we had was actually making sure that we actually struck a balance between the public good and also the interests of local residents. And we actually tried to make sure that the work that we actually carried out didn't actually have a detrimental or negative impact on some of the properties nearby. We actually carried out quite extensive consultation with local residents through the town council and also through the local flood group to try to make sure that we're actually coming up with a solution which was viable and happy for everybody. I think as far as I'm concerned, some of the factors that actually made this project a success was the consultation that actually went through with the community. Individual homeowners were consulted who actually lived nearby the scheme so that their views were actually taken on board, and that actual consultation actually resulted in the actual scheme, the design of the scheme and the development itself actually being adapted through an iterative process between the council and the local residents. And I think another factor has been the multi-agency working that's taken place in Cornwall in general since the 2010 floods. Through some flood recovery groups that were set up by the Environment Agency and Cornwall Council, we've actually had the opportunity for flood groups, residents, town and parish councils to actually work directly on a regular basis, one-to-one sometimes, with the Environment Agency, South West Water and Cornwall Council to actually plot the best way forwards. Those recovery groups have then changed into the Cornwall Community Flood Forum, and that legacy now continues 3 years on after the major flooding in mid-Cornwall, which is a great and positive thing to actually now carry forwards.
Particularly referring to the old documents, because it's one that we've used as a lead local flood authority and a local planning authority, we found that it can really improve the resilience of developments. When working with developers, it's a really good document to actually be able to assess the risks of exceedance, and it gives good practical design measures of how we can manage safety better when we've got those overland flows. I think the document's really good in that it brings together a lot of different pieces of guidance and codes of practice, so it's a good one-stop shop to actually go and look at managing flood risk in a quite a holistic way. And I know that since I finished my degree, I've actually been in contact with one of my lecturers and said that we should be including this on one of the modules, which he's now doing. I think it's a really good, useful document.
I tell you what I really like about this project is that there are some really good reports, but more importantly, there's some really good case studies, which for me really bring designing for exceedance to life. So I'm hoping that people will look at the case studies, get excited about what they might be able to do in their area for managing exceedance better.
I think Syria's got a really important role in this. It's one of the few organisations to me that's bringing people together and is considering issues in the round. And my presence here today, I think, is an illustration of that.
I think Syria's outputs, both the 2006 guidance, C6635, and the new reports and case study examples, I think will help in two key ways. Firstly, decision makers, having those examples of what's happened now, examples where they'll probably have similar context that they can relate to, will maybe make it a little bit easier for them to actually accept this is the right approach to take. And the guidance then actually allows people to kind of follow that good practice, which is referenced actually in many documents around the world, and actually implement the guidance and the advice within that. But I think it will also help practitioners, because it will give them the confidence of this has been done before, and also help them, inspire them in terms of examples and ideas for how to actually manage exceedance. So I think those two key people, the decision makers and the practitioners, will take an awful lot from both the old and new information we have.